Okay, everyone, welcome back to JSMFX for another edition of the Forex Focus in my channel, both YouTube, TikTok, and also Telegram. Okay, so this week we're going to start off with the news, but before that, this is JSMFX, and you are about to watch another episode of Forex Focus of EU, USDCHF, and the DAX. So the review is for 1st to 5th December. And the forecast is for 8th to 12th of December 2025. So let's begin over with the news. So for Monday, we only have activities happening on the China section. That is, what do you call it? The Asian session. So for anyone who's trading the Asian session, you should be very much on the lookout for these kinds of news. Tuesday, nothing much, nothing big going on. For me, this one is not that important, especially the job openings. And also, I've come to figure out something because it's December and most of the markets, or rather the pairs are ranging, meaning nothing much. We'll see nothing much in the news section. Okay, I think most of the data is not actually being released because everyone has closed up for the holiday, and yeah, waiting to come back on next year, maybe January, and start over all over again. Wednesday, we have the FOMC and the Fed interest. Now, I'll be very watchful of this one because I trade those pairs that I just told you. So I'll be very, very much attentive to Fed interest, FOMC, and also the Fed press conference. But then I love the Fed press conference because with the interest rate decision, most of the time we get the volatility. Okay, and you see how they're aligning it's themselves. We have the Fed, and then the FOMC, then the Fed press conference. So meaning one of these two could do a manipulation, then the Fed press conference could possibly continue with the actual move that the pair wanted to make. So be very watchful for that one. I'll also be very cognizant to wait and see what will happen. On Thursday, the 11th of December, we have the PPI, the job claims again, and also the PPI again later on in the evening. That is for Kenyan time. So yes, also on Thursday, I'll be very much interested to see what the market will do. So be on the lookout for that. Friday, nothing much. Maybe the pound pairs. I'm not actually in the pound pairs, so anyone doing the pound pairs, be very watchful of this. And yeah, that's for the news next week. Let's now jump into the chart, starting off with the DAX and see what we have in store. Okay, firstly, we're going to start off with the DAX. So I've always talked about this range and how also it has come in on later on during the late times of the months of the year. So meaning this range right here, it's really accumulating a lot before maybe making the actual move coming in next year. So we'll be on the lookout for this. People are the guys are really fighting to see where the market will go next. But for this range, for me, if you ask me, they're just pulling orders. Then when they come back to the market on let's say next year, 2026, say around January or February, then there is where maybe they'll make the actual move. But for me, what I'm checking out is I have this high, I still have this low, and then I have the high, this high being broken, and price now started to like range around here. So meaning this range could mean two things: either it continues to the upside or maybe comes and mitigates this demand, okay, before continuing to the upside. Okay, so anything can happen. For me, I'll just sit on my hands and wait to see what will happen. I was actually very much impressed and wanted to see how this candle will play out and maybe be the candle that will take, or rather reverse price to maybe this demand, but that wasn't the case. And as you can see, the next candle just pushed to the upside. So because it has not broken it, yes, we could still pull back to that demand, but that now gives me a uncertainty that that I'm not actually sure of the next direction that this pair would go. Okay, so that's just for the monthly. Weekly, excuse me. As you can see, the range is actually, opening up for you to see how actually things are happening. So for now, the range is playing between this high and this low, as you can see, this low and this high. And it really went on for quite some time. I think from, yeah, January, the whole year. Wow, okay. The whole year to now. Okay, so we have that pullback, and then we had that pullback, and then we had that move to the downside. So you see how maybe it was trying to do the actual pullback to that demand that we just talked about in the monthly. So right now we see another pullback again, just like this one. See another pullback to this supply. So maybe it's from that supply we will see how price now will be pushed to the downside, maybe to this demand. Okay, so anything can happen from there, and we'd love to wait and see what the market will do coming in, say possibly in during the month, or maybe coming in next year. But for me also, as much as I'm looking at that pullback, I'm still open-minded to, figure out that this ascending triangle just got broken like this, just got broken to the upside like that. So maybe they could come back to this demand and then continue to the upside. Okay, so anything can happen once again, but let's just wait and see how things will open up. From the daily, we see inside that range we had this low and this high, and the previous low just got broken. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is we've had a change. No, we've not had any change of character. So meaning this is a v-shaped reaction. As you can see, the move to the downside like that, and then sharp reaction, okay, towards this expected unmitigated supply to be touched, and maybe continue to the downside. So either that can happen, or maybe come and mitigate this demand, which we actually saw from the weekly. Now in the daily it's a bit clear, this demand, and then maybe continue to the upside. For me, I'll be very much aware, or maybe waiting for price to actually get inside that supply deeper like this, and then put in my sell stop right there. And if I'm tagged, then I'll be anticipating for at least price to go down. But if that doesn't happen and price at least comes to here and breaches it a little bit, then I'll be moving my stop loss to break even, and also taking some partials. And yeah, now let it play risk free, and see maybe if we can come down lower to come and take this low out, and also hit my TP and grab some profits. Okay, so I think that's just what I'll be viewing from the daily. 4 hour. 4 hours a bit tricky, because things are actually looking like they're getting into shape, but I was a bit hesitant on some few areas. So let's just discuss about the structure. So I'm playing between that high and this low. Okay, after breaking this last low, as you can see, price pushed to the upside. Now when price did the change of character here and then pushed to the upside a little bit, I wanted to see how far that would go. Okay, but I wasn't actually convinced to take any trade from here, because why? This low right here, okay, this low right here was just reacting to this last low, which later on came and took them out. Okay, but when I got into the charts on this time when price was here, then it came to here to this demand. I was tempted, and curious to take my buy from there, just to anticipate that pullback to the upside. But you see, it did play out, but I didn't take that trade. Okay, I didn't take that trade, but this would have been a very good area of demand to get the trade, so that you anticipate that pullback together with the market. So as you can see, it went up to this exchanging wicks, came back down, and then range around here inside that supply, and then did another pullback, only to come and take out this liquidity, and then did deeper again, a deeper pullback. Now this deeper pullback to this supply right here looks to me that it's a bit it's valid, because right now, as you can see, it crossed that supply to take out these highs. Okay, so maybe we can have a little bit of pullbacks either to this demand or this demand or also this demand before maybe coming in deeper. So I don't want to get inside this market or get involved because I don't have a significant area of interest or supply area where I want to sell from. And this one for me, I can say it's a bit precarious, and I cannot really tell if, price could reverse from there. Why? Because it has actually taken out that high, so meaning it has not reacted from it but only take out liquidity. So things have to develop more for me to see how things will play out from there. But for now, um I'm still optimistic of this deeper pullback inside that daily supply, the one in color green. So I'd love to see how that will play out, possibly coming in next week. Okay, so I don't think there's much to explain with the 15-minute. We also see the same thing happening. I was right here where you see that I did several drawings. I was watching the market, but I didn't find any area again to buy from because it was all confusing for me right around here. So nothing much would have played out for me. But from the 4 hour, the one that I told you about, the demand down there around here, this would have been a very perfect area to get my buys from. And then I think if I was aiming a 3R from here, this would have played out, say, to 3.1. 3.1 is around there. Okay, so this would have played out the whole of the other week and this recent week, and hit TP on the Friday, I think on the Friday of this week. So it would have been a good trade, though I would have been holding, but all the same, it would have been a good trade because it came out from a valid demand that was looking to push up and create that pullback or deeper pullback of the 4 hour to the sides of extreme. So that's just it for the DAX. Let's now look at the USDCHF. Okay, so USDCHF, what do we have in store? Still inside this range. We're still inside this range. So anything can happen, like I always say. But for me, if you ask me, I feel will reverse. I just feel will reverse because okay, this supply right here on the pink one, this supply looks to hold and maybe wants to push price to downside. So people are massively selling right now. People are massively selling right now and trying to also assume that maybe um, people will be ready to continue selling from there and continue pushing price to the downside from there. So like I said again, anything can happen. For me, I think that's a very valid flag, okay, to the upside, which possibly price could actually push in deeper, touch the top of it, and then continue to the downside like that. But I still have this supply right here, which I am actually looking at. This doji, sorry, this is it morning or evening star, and also an inside bar. So maybe from there, we could see some reaction like that, and then continue to the upside, or maybe breach it and also continue to the upside because we still have some BSL here and also some few uh, supply areas around here to come and mitigate. So anything can happen still, but for me, I strongly believe that we could be reversing from there. Weekly is a bit tricky also because we are still ranging also, just like the DAX, like we just seen. We are still ranging. For me, I see, we'll try and see if I can zoom in. I'll try and see if I can zoom in. Okay. So for me, I see this as a pullback, but before that, we see we had this, and then we had that push to the upside, and then push to the downside. Okay, we had another pullback right here, like that, and then pushed to the upside again, and then came back down to this same demand. Remember this demand that we just seen right now. So for this demand, I see it maybe pushing price more to the upside. For now, I see this supply also locking price from that demand, and maybe from here we could see a little bit of some pullback, maybe to any area of demand in the lower time frame before making the actual move to the upside. So anything can happen once again. So let's just wait and see. Okay, so for this one is not my actual demand because it didn't break any structure, so I just leave it at that and concentrate on this and this demand and that supply to see where price will be broken first, and make my move from there. The daily, from the daily, let me try and zoom in. Okay, that's better. From the daily also, we had that a move to the downside like that with the order flow to the downside, and then we had a change of character right there. Price came back to that demand and then pushed upwards. Okay, pushed higher, and then came back to this demand. Okay, this demand, and then now wanted to push to the upside. So what I'm getting is I want to see maybe price reacting from this exchanging wicks before going to the upside. But I'm still seeing a little bit of some order flow to the downside like that, and so maybe I'll be expecting for it to continue to come and mitigate this week and then continue to the upside. Let's check now on the 4 hour. Okay, so let's now move to 4 hour. Now 4 hour is a bit dramatic, but I'm kind of guessing that maybe my trade won't run the way I expected, but I'm still hopeful maybe things will turn out to be positive and also get my TP. So starting off from the market structure, you can see I'm playing between that high and this low. I've had a change of character right here. Let me just draw on that. I've had a change of character right here. So price went up, started respecting a couple of demands around here, and then it was actually building liquidity, which later on came and took them out, and then it ran back up to go again deeper into the extreme of the structure like we just saw. And as you can see, it came back down again to that next demand. So what I'm trying to suppose here is that, let me just zoom in, that this move to the upside, okay, left this demand unmitigated. Okay, so after this change of character, I'm expecting or rather anticipating for price to get to here. Okay, so what I did is after I saw price coming to this supply right there, there was a change of character, and then price created this supply. You see this supply right here, and then it moved again deeper. I think in one of my videos, I don't know, it's either the other week or this last week that just came in on my previous video, I talked of a sell opportunity from around this area, okay, to the downside. And as you can see, it's actually playing it that way. Okay, so what's happening is price range came to that supply and then pushed lower, and then pulled back a little bit, then came lower. Okay, and then now excuse me, when it came to that supply, this next supply now that you see in this candle, you see that it pushed lower. So I had my sell stop there, and then price tagged me and came very well to this demand. Now this demand right here, I'm not calling it a demand per se, because what it only did, it reacted to this supply, but it actually didn't create that strong demand that I would have expected. Say for example, like this is a good demand, this is a good demand. Okay, this was a good demand, but you see it didn't react from any demand that was actually reacting from the next demand or to the right. So same to this one, it's reacting to this supply. Sorry, it's reacting to this supply. Sorry, it's I've just mixed myself up. So it's for this one, it does not react to any supply around here. Okay, so also for this demand, it has not reacted to, yes, it has reacted to this supply, but there was no that enough demand for me to call it, sorry, that a level for me to call it a demand, where it would later on attract price and react from. Okay, but nevertheless, anything can happen in the market. So however, as much as it came my way, okay, I actually advise people to put their price to break even, because this low got broken again. And then when it came back up, for those that had their trades on break even, then that's fine. Okay, you still secured, you still broke even, and you didn't go at a loss. But for myself, I'm still holding on to this trade. Now what worries me is that there was this slight pullback and then an up move, but before that up move we have these exchanging wicks, okay, that push price higher. Okay, so for now, two things: if it does breach this low right here like this, then a supply would be available right here, okay, to at least push price lower to that demand that we just saw before the change of character right here. But if it does react from it, okay, and move to the upside like that, then I will accept, okay, I will accept my loss like that. I will accept my loss and just uh, take it bravely and wait for another setup next time. But this was one of the trades that I took, and this was the only trade that I took, actually risking 1% to actually tell me if I could get that 3%. Well, the only thing I'll pray for is just for this demand to be breached. But if it doesn't breach that demand next week, then it's okay. It's okay. It will be a loss accepted, and also uh, we'll just have to, look forward to focus on another setup. So this also gives me that proof or certainty that price went up to take out this high, meaning now that maybe they were just taking out liquidity from here, because so many people had sold from here. So maybe that was their time to come and take them out, and possibly they now want to go back, or rather continue back down. But if it does breach, or rather go to the upside, takes me out on my stop loss, then that means that this supply right here, see that supply right there, it will fail. Okay, and so for that being said, if it does do something like this, then I'll be looking for any demand around here and play it to the upside, go with the flow. Okay, but if it does go to the downside, then I'll just leave it to play out. And this time I told myself I'm not taking any passions. Okay, so if it does go to the downside, then I'll be expecting this to be liquidity also, and anticipating for price to come and take them out, just the same way we saw on the last demand before this change of character, the current change of character. So let me just align this one. Let me just align this one and then show you that other one. So you see here what happened. Okay, so price did go up, okay, like this. So price did go up, came back down to this demand, and pulled in some more buyers, and then went to the upside, only for them to later on come down and mitigate the actual demand that they wanted, or they were focusing on before, maybe continue to the upside. So all I'm praying for is that this would also be liquidity, and then get to this demand the same way they did here, and then continue to the upside. But if it doesn't do that, then fine, it's okay. I've already accepted and made peace with my loss, and yeah, looking forward to just continue with the week next week. Okay, so 15 minute also giving me the vibes of buys, and so I've already, like I said in the fore, I've already accepted my loss, and I'll be waiting for price to give me any setup coming in next week to tell me maybe the next direction it wants to go. So let me just let the chart load up. Okay, so 15 minute, the structure is quietly huge. It's quite huge. So as you can see, yes, we are on an uptrend on the 15 minute, but as you can see, price did go up. Let me try and draw that through. Price went up to break that previous high and then came down like that and then came up. So two things, either it just wants to continue to the upside from here, okay, from here, maybe it wants to continue to the upside. If not, then I'll be very happy to see at least price coming down here, okay, before maybe, making any decision from there to also continue to the upside possibly. Okay, so that's just it from USDCHF. Let's now close the week with Euro USD and yeah, call it a week. Okay, so last but not least, everyone's or most of the traders' favorite, Euro USD. Playing in from the monthly, from that high to this low, price has pulled back very well to the extreme, but I'm feeling that this range right here is still, picking up orders. So for me, if you ask me, maybe we would come to, mitigate this supply before maybe moving on to the downside to, pick more orders from here and then continue or rather reverse into the upside. Okay, so that's just how I'm looking at Euro USD from the monthly. But for now, what is happening is there's this demand. There's this demand here which price has just pulled into. Okay, so it is from here now I want to see or rather expect for price to still push up to this supply before maybe looking for any ideas of sales from there. Okay, so anything still can happen. Weekly, the range is quite huge, and it actually started off late this, I think late or rather mid the year, yeah, June. So as you can see, that same supply, sorry, that same demand right here is where price is. But if you check also closely, we have this kind of an order flow to the downside like that. Okay, so this one came all the way down here, and then now we are ranging around here, but price looks like it wants to go up or rather continue up from there. So yes, it might continue from there or maybe just come down to this inside bar and then move to the upside. So it is only until I see this inside bar being breached like this, getting breached like that, and then I look for any supplies from there, which now will prove to me that now we'll be reversing to that demand that we saw to the downside to, at the monthly, sorry. Okay, so that's just how I'm seeing things. But for now, what I can say is price has taken out the highs of this supply right here. Okay, it has taken out the highs of that supply, and I'll be waiting to see if things will turn out to, show us that it wants to continue to buy from there or maybe breach this demand and then continue to sell. Daily, starting off from the structure, everyone or most of the people were anticipating for price to actually come down to this demand. Okay, but that wasn't the case. So price just broke to the upside and it has pulled very well to the downside. Okay, and I think we've had a change of character. Yes, we've had a change of character from this high on the daily. So two things. After price pulled back to the supply, guys were expecting at least for price to come down to this demand and then continue to the upside, but that wasn't the case. Price just came down to that demand, which is not actually a demand. It is just a zone for me that pushed price to the upside. So we see very well that there was that push to the upside, then we had a slight pullback which later on broke all those highs. Okay, these highs 1, 2 and 3, and then now it's doing a certain pullback to a small pullback, sorry, and maybe react from that demand and then push to the upside. This could also be a supply to me, but I'm really not concentrating on it that much. So I'm only concentrating on this demand, which possibly could be the one to push price to the upside. But if you ask me, we are still on a downtrend from here, because if you check very well, this was a lower low here, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then lower low. Okay, so from the here up here and down here, we are still ranging inside there. Okay, so maybe this could be the reason why now they would want to continue to the downside. Okay, but I'm still expecting for at least maybe just this this supply to be mitigated. Let me just draw on it like that, and then maybe continue to the downside. Okay, so still anything can happen, but let's wait and see. 4 hour also very played out very well, and I was also hesitant, by the way, on 4 hour also. So remember that range that I told you, the internal range, so it is actually also an internal range also in the 4 hours. So we see a very good downtrend to there. Okay, and then we had this change of character which pushed price to the upside. This is a very good trade by there. I explained it in one of my previous videos. You can go and check on it on my channel. And then here, I think for this one, if you want to check it out, then you'll get it on November videos. Yeah, November. This was November 10th. So if you can check out the previous, actually, I think the previous or the end of the week of that 10th. Yeah, the previous week of before 10th, or maybe after the week of that 10th, then you'll see how I executed this trade and then let it run to TP. Yes, so price came back to that demand, which was actually the huge demand before the change of character, and then price pushed higher. So when price came up, it reacted to the supply, came to this demand, but still pushed higher, and then it went up again, and then came down, went up, came down like that to take out those liquidity, and then pushed higher. So you see how now they started building that internal bullish order flow. Okay, so from there, then again we see another range which price took a break before, continue to the upside to mitigate this supply. Now when it came down here to this demand, I was skeptical to take this trade, and I said it before that every time you see the red and purple trade box like this, then it's a missed trade. Okay, it's an hesitant trade, a trade that I didn't actually take. So I was hesitant because I noticed that this level of lows, or rather a couple of bottoms, were the areas where they needed to mitigate, and I expected maybe they would at least come down to this demand, okay, before continuing to the upside. So yes, for those that took the trade from here, this was a very good trade, although a very risky one for me. So I didn't take it, yes, but this would have been a very good trade, which actually got into 3R within a few hours, if I'm not wrong, within a few hours. So what we see next is we had a slight pullback and then a deeper pullback, which pushed price higher, and then we had a change of character here. Now before the change of character, you can see very well that price reacted, okay, from this kind of like a demand. Not really, for me it's not actually a demand, but it was actually the candle before this break, the break of this high. So from there we see an official change of character, which now push price back up to mitigate that supply. Okay, and then right now they look now to like continue now back down to maybe this demand, or maybe now they were initially coming to this demand. So if it does come to this demand, for me now, this is the focus. If it does come to this demand, same thing as here, or rather here, okay, I'll also look to place my buy stop, and then you know expecting or maybe anticipating for that move again to the upside. So that's just what I'm looking at from Euro USD and what I'll be expecting. So let's go to 15 minutes and explain to you about the trade that I took, which actually turned out to be a loss. So from the 15 minute, we are seeing that there was a very subtle bullish order flow to the upside, and starting off from this week, I think that's the first week of December, right here, we see price went up, okay, it created that high, and then this high now came back down. Now this is a descending triangle which got broken. Okay, it got broken, say around here, and then price came back down to actually take out most of the liquidity before running back up. Okay, so it is from this point that I told you, from 4 hour, in this brown demand right here. See this brown demand? It is from that point where now I see price reacted from and then went to the upside. So this would have been also a very good trade, okay, especially on the 4 hour, where if you place your buy stop there, then it would have turned out very well. So price broke to the upside, but before that, we see price reacting from that supply and then push price up. So again, we see another range right here, built more liquidity again, and then push price up higher, which later on we see price coming back down to this demand, okay, after this slight change of character, and then pushing price to the upside. So what I forgot is, from this high I did draw my structure, okay, because as you can see, from this high we had a break of structure right here, okay, to the upside. So I with this being break of structure, meaning that this change of character on the 4 hour would have been my swing low, which, as you can see, it has now shift bearish. So with this, assuming that this now is the uh, lower low, then this should be my lower high. So when price came back down here, I was believing that same as that related lows that we just saw on the 4 hour, this would have also been the same, because this, for me, it looked like actually a strong demand. So from there, we see price coming back down to that demand, and then I was expecting for it to at least shoot to the upside to continue with the buy, but that wasn't the case. So what it did, it ranged a little bit up to there and then went down, okay, to take out those liquidity, especially from here and also here and also here, okay, and also these small or other little wicks. So coming in next week, now things can be a little bit sketchy, but I'll be expecting to see at least some few moves to the upside, either to that supply or maybe this supply, before continuing to the upside. So downside, so anything can actually happen from there. So that's just it from the USD, Euro USD, and also for the whole episode of GSMFX Forex Focus on those three pairs. If you want us to trade together, let me know. I have my group where it is free to join, and you guys can come and see how we execute these trades. And sometimes it's a loss, sometimes it's a win. It's part of the game. If you want private mentorship to actually see or maybe time these areas the way I do, and get to also relax, especially when you take a trade on the high time frame. For me, I tend to relax, and I never have that. Pressure, okay, of looking at the charts all the time, because I'm trusting my strategy, I'm trusting my edge, and I've also accepted the loss before the profit hits. Okay, so anything does have everything, and anything does happen, and that's how I look at the charts. If you want me to deal with you privately, let me know also in my inbox, whether in TikTok or Telegram, or also on YouTube. If you want more of this context, don't forget also to subscribe and also like and share, all those beautiful things that supporters do. Okay, so I don't have much. You guys have a nice weekend, and see you on the next one.